The Selected Member panel allows you to choose the elements in Specifi that can support the design, load combination, and any point loads that you've entered. Below your selected member, Specifi displays a list of possible beams. This list contains all the different structural element types, PFCs, UBs, UCs, timber elements, glue lams and LVLs for instance, that are appropriate for the element you're designing. You can modify the available structural element types that you see from the hyperlink on the screen. The possible beams list shows details of all the available items and includes the following columns. The code column is the name of the element followed by its width and height in millimeters. The rigidity ratio is a measure of the calculated deflection relative to the allowed deflection. So a member with a rigidity ratio of 2 is deflecting half of what is allowed. The next column shows the deflection at the midspan in millimeters, followed by the largest point load deflection, if there are any. The last column shows the proportion of the deflection over its length. Let's select a member, but before we do, just note that in this case, there's only one PFC visible. We'll discuss this shortly. To select a member, click the Select link in the left-hand side column. When you do this, Specifi will collapse the list of available members. Select your chosen element in the Selected Member field, update the deflections and rigidity ratios for the member, and finally show you a picture of the member in profile. You can save your selection by clicking the Save Selected Member button, but before we do that, let's check out some other options. At the top of the list of possible beams, there are some fields to allow you to filter. The maximum depth and width fields simply limit the elements to smaller than the selected option. The Include 3604 checkbox can be used to show members that are designed according to the NZS 3604 standard, but only if a member would be allowed to be designed using 3604. The next checkbox is particularly powerful. Once you've selected an element, if Show Additional Sizes is checked, and you click the Refresh Possible Beams button, Specifi will show you additional sizes for the particular structural element type that you've already chosen. If you recall, when the list was first displayed, Specifi only showed one size of PFC, but when the list is refreshed, you'll now see additional PFCs, and you'll notice that the deflection decreases as the member size increases. This is an important concept to understand because when you design elements that have point loads, or will be point loads themselves, you can increase the size of a member, which can improve the overall global deflection of the elements. You may notice occasionally when you design a beam that has a point load, an information box appears telling you the size of the element you're designing is being governed by the deflection at the point load of one of the elements sitting on it. This is because Specifi considers the global, or system deflection, and won't allow any item in the system to deflect more than its allowable limits. In this case, you may benefit from increasing the size of the member that is the point load, thereby reducing the deflection at the point load and also the size of the element currently being designed. For more information, see the Help section on global point loads. If the possible beams list is empty, this means Specifi hasn't found any structural elements that support your design, and specific engineering design may be required. It's also worth pointing out that your selected element may no longer be valid. For example, when you've designed a beam with a certain point load, and that changes, or you've changed the design parameters in the Supported Elements section above. Don't worry, in this case Specifi will report it as being invalid, and won't let you save a member until it has sufficient capacity. Once you're happy with the member you've chosen, click the Save Selected Member button, and let's move on to designing the end connections. Thanks for watching.